I have some super ripe pears. They are ripe and they are ready, and I'm gonna make an Italian pear cake. So to do that, I've got to whip this all up until it's like really glistening and beautiful. And then I'm gonna add in mascarpone cheese. You guys know this? And it's funny, the other day when I bought this, the other day, probably 2 weeks ago, when I got this at the store, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make tiramisu. And then I didn't. But then I was like, oh, I'm gonna make pear cake. So I'm gonna whip this into here after that's gone. I've got all my dry ingredients, and then I fold it in, and then I'm gonna fold in my pears. So let's time lapse this puppy. Oh my gosh, that was like the most beautiful cake to put together. That mascarpone, dude, I'm so excited for this. So I'm just preparing my pan, just rubbing some butter. In this springform, I don't think we've used the springform pan together. So springform pan has this fun thing off to the side where when I open it, I can disrobe the cake and put it back on. You just want to make sure it's super sealed. So I've got my nice butter in this pan. Oh my goodness, this cake is gorgeous. This batter, I'm in love with it. Don't tell my husband. I think this cake is beautiful. Maybe it's just super light pears. Oh my gosh. Now there's no spices or anything in here. We're just gonna let the pears and that mascarpone do all the talking. So after I get this in here, I'm just supposed to layer some pears right over the top. Now this recipe came from an Italian in my kitchen. That's the name of the food blog. There's literally not an Italian in my kitchen right now. Just a Mexican Irish girl, here I am. Okay, I'm putting this here and putting this here. I'm sure this would be a lot prettier if I had, like really great shaped pears, but this is the shape of the pears that I had. So here we go. Now I'm gonna pop it in the oven, and then we're gonna let it cool and release it from the pan. I forgot one more thing. She wants to sprinkle some granulated sugar on top. Now what's nice is my sugar is like the really coarse sugar. Now I can bake it. So I learned on the Great British Baking Show from Peter. You guys watching the current season, it just finished, but I do love Peter. You've got to listen to the cake. So let's listen. The bubbles have slowed down, so I think it's ready to go. So we're just gonna let it cool for a little bit before we click open the springform. It's cool. So now we're gonna springform it. This is the fun part. So you open the latch and you lift it off. That's it. Now the cake is like, Chris is here. Isn't it pretty? Oh, it might be late at night, but guess what? We're having some cake.
What's in this cake?
It is a pear mascarpone.
Mascarpone? It's a gangster cake.
Gangster cake.
That's super yummy.
Mascarpone.
Light and delicious.
Not just for tiramisu. It forms like a really nice crust, but then it's like super moist, and I know a lot of people don't like that word, and that's okay. Golden, beautiful, not super sweet. Not super sweet, but like just sweet enough, and then you're like, oh, it's like sweet, and then you're like, oh, I got a pear. Ooh, a pear.
It's very demure.
This This is a demure dainty cake, maybe with some tea. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's too late. I'm not making tea right now. It's like
A
late
big
at
pot
night.
of coffee. 9 p.m. coffee. Ready to rip through the midnight oil.
Friends, it took about 10 minutes to toss this together. Then you just bake it. I baked it for about an hour. Perfect, wonderful, great. This would be a great thing to gift to people because it's a very stable cake. You could put it in a pie box. Do you guys know pie box? Check pie box.
I wonder how this will be at breakfast.
I don't know if it's gonna make it to breakfast, so we're gonna just eat the whole cake. The kids are asleep. They won't even know. Well, they'll be like, "Where's the cake?" And we're like,
The cats
Sorry.
ate it.
"The cats ate it." Oh.
Hungry cats.
Do you have any mascarpone? Pears? Because if you don't, you should get some so you can make this cake. Have a great day. Happy Friday.
Yum.
And we'll see you later. Bye.